Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and as you probably saw, CA did release some WoodElves gameplays, and as I mentioned last week, I was able to go out. I was invited to CA Studios, and we did get some hands-on time with the WoodElves. Couldn't really talk too much about it, but now we get to see a battle in progress where we get to break things down a little bit more, and actually you guys get to see the elves as they play out, not necessarily naturally, because obviously they've given themselves a pretty hefty advantage here with a bunch of archers up on a cliff, but you get to see them in action, which is always different than reading about it or hearing about it. The first thing is the maps just keep topping each other and how beautiful they are. The Oak of Age is in the background that you see in the campaign map here, makes a splendid appearance. Good God, it looks freaking great. Again, the art team is doing fantastic stuff, phenomenal stuff. It really helps give you the vibe that, you know, every time you're fighting for the heart of your city. And remember, this is a battle tile, pretty much. That this is a capital structure or region, and when you fight around it, yeah, you're actually going to have this in the backdrop. So kudos on the immersion. I'm glad CA went the full length and made this thing, you know, fully fleshed out in the game. Yeah, so the WoodElves that you'll be seeing here, it is kind of a pre-setup scenario against the AI, where I'll talk a bit about my fear of how they're going to play out. Very glass cannon-y, but I see a lot of hard counters. We get a nice view of each and every unit. Again, CA outdoing themselves in natural with the Hawk Riders. This is going to be interesting to have a very mounted contingent of flying units that can shoot. Never really been able to harass too much, but those are going to be great. And then here, the Forest Dragon. Take a look at the underbelly of the wings, a pattern seemingly taken from a butterfly, it appears. Just freaking glorious. I wonder if they even consulted painted models for how these look. It looks great. And then, of course, the Wood Elf archers themselves. This army here has only 5 of them, and you can see the unit size is actually pretty small, down to 45. So these guys are gonna obviously, well, here they're deployed hidden. And I think this hero here has the ability to shoot from the forest while hidden, and then he has a sniping ability where he does, it's kind of like a lock on to an enemy hero. It's almost like casting a spell, and he shoots and it does a lot of damage. So he was cool to play in the preliminary build. And then the War Dancer is here. It's going to be important to have these guys. As you'll see later, they are great at taking out large units. And then kind of the infantry. But again, a lot of the Wood Elf forces here seem to be pretty small in terms of their size. So I'm a little scared about, you know, if they get caught out in the open or if they come out under artillery barrages, how fragile they're going to be. Now the Treekin and Treemen look freaking great. Just can't harp on enough about how freaking awesome these are for DLC animations, the artwork, and all that. But definitely, those guys are the spirit creatures are going to be more of your hardier folk that you have in the battle. And then also on this flank, they have Wild Riders deployed on the side. These guys, again, artwork, models, everything looks great. But also the animations, you'll see when they move around, they're kind of skittish the way they move. Kind of prancing around, jotting back and forth, kind of zigzaggy, very much recreating the lifelike movement of deer. And so they're going to go for this flanking operation. Yeah, look at them as they kind of hop around left and right. So that was a nice, really nice little touch that I felt. They're going to be pretty glass cannon-y, so I think against standard cavalry they're going to get torn up, but they're just supposed to be hit and run. So you can see concentrated archer fire here takes out an Empire cav very, very quickly, and then it starts tackling the flagellants. And yeah, you're doing a lot of damage, but this is 5 units shooting at 1 unit. And by this point in time, the Empire force is already at, you know, banging at the door. The deployment of the Empire forces is really close to the Wood Elves, and so all those archers focus just in on 1 unit to kill it, and that just doesn't seem cost effective. Meanwhile, the enemy artillery is blasting the Wood Elf infantry. So what I would almost recommend, you know, we'll see if this is proven out, but what I would recommend is to beat the Wood Elves, just bring lots of cannons. They can outrange the archers, and then just fire away at the enemy infantry line and heroes, even the archers, and you're good to go. And it's pretty easy to block these types of attacks. Any human player would see this coming a mile away, so I'm a little bit scared about the Wood Elves. I think they're going to be hard countered, obviously, by armor and anything that can outrange their archers, because obviously they don't have anything, any artillery of their own. So kind of, you know, what meets those specifications, artillery and armor. Well, dwarves. I have a feeling that dwarves are going to hard counter the wood elves. Just because, as you already saw here, the Empire forces could move up to the elves really quickly before they could have a time to kill to take out their units. And if you add on top of that the armor of the dwarves, yeah, the wood elves are not going to have a good time trying to take out dwarven troops. So that is kind of just my inclination. And then here demis are going to come in and knock them about. And then they're going to do a suicidal charge into 4 units here, the War Dancers. Now this is a little bit cool to see. The War Dancers here are light, nimble, and fast. So yeah, they can take a fair amount of damage from artillery, but what you'll also notice is they have charge bonus. Or sorry, not charge bonus. Bonus versus large, and they are immune to fear. And so once they swarm these demis, take a look at how quickly the health drops on these demi-griff knights. That was really cool to see. I think the wood elves are definitely going to need units that can take out monsters and larger units like that very quickly. So that's awesome to see those guys taking effect. The archers in the distance on the left are still firing away. I think the wood elves are definitely going to rely on expending almost all their ammo in order to be cost effective. When I was playing, the time to kill was super slow. And I don't know, you're going to want to target obviously key heroes and other units, but it opens up the possibility for just spamming cheap units to just soak up, arrow catchers and all that as an opposing strategy. I did pause the screen here just because you can see the tree men attack in the ground, where he punches the ground and then roots flay up as an attack animation. So that was just my cue to kind of throw in here the little video they put out about tree men. Again, I just wanted to call attention to the awesome art assets and animations that they put into this. I had a really fun time in the battles that I played at CA. I was super distracted, not really playing. I was zoomed into the wood elf spirit creatures like the tree men and treekin, just because look at this. You get to see this in the game, and it was all very, very cool. As someone who's played Total War for a long time, I don't often catch myself zoomed in on the animations, but now I think with Warhammer, all of us find ourselves, in those situations where we really do want to zoom in, and that's a great feeling to have. And I think it's great that CA has put in the time and the money and the effort to get true veterans to come back and look really close. It's a feeling that we don't necessarily get with many of the other titles. But yeah, so this was just a little aside to show off the tree men. And as I said, these guys are probably going to be very important for your wood elf builds. You need stocky, sturdy troops to hold the enemy back, to sandbag them while your archers fire away. A problem, though, is with these large units, yeah, maybe they'll be a little slow, and they are kind of bait for spells and artillery. But then at the same time, the wood elves do have a pretty good roster of mounted units. Different types of hawks and whatnot. So here one of the glaive lords with a giant eagle is awesome. So yeah, they have a hit squad, which is going to be good for helping them deal with enemy artillery and other units that are maybe trying to get around their flanks. So this is cool. The animations on this guy is also really sweet. The way he picks up dudes, swoops around, and kind of throws them up in the air. My main problem with this is, yeah, it looks awesome, but just he's not being very effective with killing. And that is one of the things, again, a recurring point with the wood elves is the time to kill seems really slow. And so yeah, I'm just like, maybe I'll send my glaive lord to tie down a unit, but if he's only killing 1, 2, 3 men at a time there, it's not going to be very good at holding up units or even doing that much damage. So that is my fear, that the wood elves are just going to be really hampered. And I think a lot of the times as the wood elf player, you're going to find yourself chased across the map into a corner and not really be able to do anything. Anyways, that's a bit of my fear. We'll have to see more gameplay in the future as it shakes out. Hopefully CA continues to be responsive in terms of balance and whatnot. They may be a little bit more focused on bringing the tabletop aspects to life, making cool units, cool animations and all that, and I'm sure balance will come in the future. I'm not quite sure how the Wood Elves played on the tabletop, although I'm pretty sure that they were not a power faction. I think they were very glass cannon-y. So yeah, we'll see how that works. Another thing, of course, is, on the campaign map, it's different, where these guys can deploy in the forest. One of their big advantages, obviously, that they can strike from the forest, they can ambush, and they're all about that. Whereas in a multiplayer battle, you don't really get that advantage, so there is the inherent imbalance there. And also, take a look at the unicorn. right there in the foreground. That was cool to see. I don't think they've spotlighted that unit too much. But that's it for the gameplay. I also did want to mention here at the end that people got some screen grabs from a live stream that did show some concept art for Harpies. So there are going to be free units thrown into the mix. A couple units going to be added to Chaos, I believe, just mostly reskins. But then the Beastmen are going to get a couple new units. I think they're mostly reskins, but one of the new ones for sure is going to be the Harpies. So that is desperately needed. The Beastmen really need that ability to contest the air at least a little bit. And these guys are going to be pretty powerful. I wonder if they're going to behave kind of like Terrorgeists or whatnot. Or maybe not Terrorgeist, but Vargeist. So yeah, we'll have to see, but exciting to see free LC, free content, fleshing out other units with these packs. So that is it for this video. I do hope you guys did enjoy, and yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on the WoodElves and test these guys out, see how they play, see how the balance comes out, and always look at the animations. So that's it. See you in the next one. Peace out, guys, and yeah, stay tuned for more.